Tezzeret Cruel Captain's -3 ability grabs an artifact that costs either 0 or 1 mana. What costs that? How about Black Lotus that then plays Beseech the Mirror? Let's go check out today's vintage deck list. In front of you is Vintage Beseech the Mirror combo, and since the last time that I recorded this deck, has gained some pretty meaningful upgrades. The first would be Stock Up, a card that most people know by now. It's like a $15 uncommon. It's quite good. So for 2 and a blue, you grab 2 of the top 5, the rest go on the bottom. Well, that's really good in your deck with Mana Crypt and Soul Ring in it, right? Well, yeah, those cards also cast the newest edition, Tezzeret Cruel Captain. So now you can accelerate into Tezzeret Cruel Captain and then go grab Black Lotus. One argument against this deck in the past is that you only had 4 copies of Dark Ritual. Some people would even play Cabal Ritual in this deck just to help support cast Beseech the Mirror. But now with Tezzeret Cruel Captain, you could filter colorless mana into black mana by grabbing the Black Lotus, which means that things like your mana vaults get even better. So this is a huge upgrade to the deck. But aside from the mana fixing, it also untaps your Time Vault. So now you have another way to take infinite turns. Tezzeret Cruel Captain is perfect in this Beseech the Mirror deck, and I think that it's going to be quite the thing to do today. So why I'm playing this deck is honestly, I love casting Tinker. It's my favorite thing about Vintage, and I think that this is the best Balassa Citadel deck in the format, and that's what I wanted to do today. I wanted to play Balassa Citadel, so hopefully we get to do tons of that. One thing I'm not so excited about today is that every list of this deck is playing Karn the Great Creator, my least favorite Magic card, but it does make sense here, because obviously you can grab Mycosynth Lattice to lock out your opponent from the game. They can't cast any more spells, but it grabs the One Ring. Why do you care about grabbing the One Ring? Well, in your Tezzeret Cruel Captain deck, you now have 3 ways to untap it and draw more cards, and I think it's just a pretty meaningful upgrade. So what if you didn't want to play Karn the Great Creator? You could play main deck One Ring, that makes sense, but Beseech the Mirror grabs the Karn the Great Creator, so you're really playing 4 of this effect, when the format is really about artifacts right now, like those Mana Crypts, those Soul Rings, to cast your Stock Ups or Paradoxical Outcome, and I think having access to the Karn the Great Creator is pretty meaningful. So that's my deck tech today. This is Beseech the Mirror Storm. If you enjoyed this vintage comment, let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear from you. My vintage videos don't always perform well, but I like playing the format, so if you can get that view count up, maybe I'll record more vintage videos. So that's what I've got for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the first match. Don't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to match number 1. We're on the play. Let's go. We have Force of Will. We have Urza's Saga. This is a turn when Tezzeret into Stock Up with Force of Will backup. We keep these. Let's party. Alright, the opponent is also kept. We'll play the Urza's Saga. Oh wait, is it? No, it's not a turn 1 Tezzeret, because the key isn't plus mana. So next turn it's a Tezzeret. So we can untap the Soul Ring, but I'm 1 mana short. Okay. I lied. I'm sorry. So next turn we could play Tezzeret plus make a construct token. And then we could also stock up. So you get to make a construct token next turn and stock up. They play Mox Jet, Flaring Academy. Okay, they have 6 cards in their hand. Ancestral Recall. I will Force of Will, exiling Force of Will. They have 5 cards. It's been countered. Black Lotus, that's a good one. So we'll untap the Soul Ring here. And now we'll play Tezzeret the Cruel Captain. Oh, I lied last turn. Sorry, I need to learn what my cards do. We don't get to make a construct and stock up without me drawing the Black Lotus. Last turn I said that we could do both. I lied. So we'll untap the Soul Ring here. And I think I'm just going to sacrifice. I guess I could float the 2 blue. It doesn't hurt to do so. And now we'll play Stock Up. Time Vault plus Time Walk. That's just a win. Holy moly. This deck's good. Oh, maybe no, I guess taking the Force Will doesn't matter. We'll We'll tap here, play the Time Walk, go to our next turn, and now the Saga is going to die, and we draw a card in the Great Piece of Trash. We can go grab another artifact here. How about the, I don't know, Mox? So I could grab a Mana Vault. I have two different ways to untap it. That's probably fine enough. We'll grab Mana Vault. And we'll bait here with the Karn the Great Creator. And that resolved. And now I'll play Time Vault. We can untap the Time Vault, take an extra turn, kill their Mox Jet, and our opponent concedes. That was awesome. That was a game of Magic the Gathering, let me tell you. Alright, so I'm going to switch this over from my preferred view, which is card view, to pile view. It's just, there's too much to see when you're playing Vintage, so you can't actually see your entire sideboard. Alright, so some sort of blue Tinker deck, I would guess. Or I guess it could be Paradoxical outcome. They didn't show us Allura, so it's probably a Tinker deck. We want the Fluster Storms, maybe the Mindbreak Traps, Hull Breachers. A lot of cards coming in. Usually against blue decks, you're supposed to take out the top deck tutors like Mystical Tutor and Vampiric Tutor. You don't want cards that are negative in these matchups, so I think those are easy to sideboard out. You could probably get rid of the Chain of Vapor. I don't have strong opinions on that one. And that leaves us at 63. Could probably shave one Beseech the Mirror. That's 62. I'm stuck. I don't actually know what to sideboard out here. This is a tough decision. Like on the draw, are you supposed to cut Thoughtseize against a blue deck? I don't know. Part of me wants to just cut the Lorien Revealeds, but I feel like that's very greedy. Could also just get rid of all of the Beseech the Mirrors, but then you're less of a good combo deck. But maybe that's fine. Alright, we'll try this. We are boarding in some cards that are more expensive, so I don't mind. Also, this hand is very good. I don't mind, you know, boarding out some more expensive cards like Beseech the Mirror, because we brought in Hull Breachers, and like the deck was already a little chunky at the 3 mana value, so I think boarding down on some expensive cards could be okay. We will keep our opponent with a mulligan to 6. Basic Island, Black Lotus, okay. They have 4 cards. Time Vault. Well, this is a potential win. We'll play the Flooded Strand. Let's play Mox Emerald. Let's try Soul Ring. Time Vault. I'm sorry, Mana Vault. I said the wrong one out loud. And then we'll tap the Mana Vault. And we'll play Tezzeret Cruel Captain. 1 mana floating. Consign to Memory. Okay. So I could try to resolve the Time Vault here. I think I will. Grab Underground Sea. Play the Time Vault. They have 3 cards left in their hand. Force of Negation, exiling Sink into Stupor. Sure. So they have 1 card they're about to draw into a second. They do have a Black Lotus in play. They play Urza's Saga. This Mindbreak Trap not looking so great in my hand at the moment. So they could hardcast a Force of Will. That is within the realm of what they could do this turn. But I still think I'm supposed to play the stock up. We'll take 1 from the Mana Vault. And let's play the stock up. Another Tezzeret Cruel Captain. And another stock up. Do I want the Tezzeret without the Time Vault in the deck? I don't know. I think we do want the stock up. And Misty Rainforest. Play the Sensi's Divining top. And we'll pass the turn. The Urza Saga will go to the second chapter. They play a Needle. I'm going to just draw a random card here, which was apparently Undercity Sewers, and then I'll fetch. I mean, I wanted to fetch for the Undercity Sewers here, so it's a little uncomfortable. Like, that was my whole game plan, was to grab the Undercity Sewers, and then I drew it. So now Needle happens. They name the Sensi's Divining Top, even though I just shuffled it away. Alright, they have 1 card in hand, and they no longer have access to... Okay. This is their second spell of the turn. I cannot Mindbreak Trap here. So I was going to say Hardcast Force of Will was offline, but then they played the stock up. And now Mishra's Workshop. Whatever they play here, I should be able to Mindbreak Trap. And we'll Mindbreak Trap the One Ring. Alright, they have no cards in their hand. I would like to draw Tinker. Can we make that happen? Yawgmoth's Will. I mean, it's not terrible, but it doesn't actually do a whole lot here. So I could tap the Underground Sea and the Soul Ring, play Yawgmoth's Will, play a land, play Tezzeret Cruel Captain, minus the Tezzeret Cruel Captain to grab Black Lotus stock up. Like, that's actually, it's not a win, so I think I'd prefer to just play the stock up here. Dark Ritual and another stock up. I could also just take Mox Sapphire stock up, which is probably better. We'll play the Mox Sapphire. Play stock up. Oh my. So we found Black Lotus Tinker. So Black Lotus into Yawgmoth's Will is not a win. But I'll take Black Lotus Tinker. We'll play the Black Lotus. Sacrifice. And then we'll play Tinker, sacrificing the Mana Vault. We'll grab Bolas's Citadel. Play the Underground Sea. Play Sensei's Divining Top. There is the Needle in play. So I cannot randomly draw a card here. I will pass the turn with Flusterstorm on top of the deck. Urza Saga goes to the third chapter. They cannot make a construct here. Mishra's Workshop only taps for artifact mana. It does not tap for mana for abilities. They grab a Vexing Bauble, which would shut off the Bolas's Citadel. And they drew another One Ring. Okay. So now they'll draw a random card. And I might have a win with the Yawgmoth's Will next turn. We'll find out. So draw the Flusterstorm. Dark Ritual. I mean, it's going to be countered, but honestly, that's okay, because I can replay it later off of the Yawgmoth's Will. We'll play Polluted Delta. I'm down to pay 4 life to put Tendrils in my graveyard. Oh, I can't. There's a One Ring in play. That's right. So what would I like to do? I boarded out the Chain of Vapor, so I don't actually have an answer to this Vexing Bauble, I don't believe. I mean, Karn the Great Creator is a card I'm interested in here. We'll fetch out the Underground Sea. Mental Misstep isn't particularly good. We'll play Yawgmoth's Will, and then Dark Ritual. We'll play the Mana Vault using a green. The Black Lotus will be countered by the Vexing Bauble, so I'm not sure if you're actually supposed to play it. And then we'll play the Tezzeret Cruel Captain, untap the Mana Vault, tap the Mana Vault, and then we'll play stock up just to change the top card of our deck. We'll take Manifold Key and, I don't know, the other Tezzeret? Maybe it's supposed to be Cataxian Probe, just so we can change the top card of our deck. We'll play the key. Tezzeret gets a little bit larger. Untap the Mana Vault. I could Tinker again, but the Time Vault is out of my deck, so I'm not sure if there's anything actually worth grabbing. We'll play another stock up. There's the Karn the Great Creator. Feels so wrong. I don't even want Ancestral Recall. How crazy is that? Like, I'm going to take it, but it's not even, like, particularly good here. Okay. And now we'll play Karn the Great Piece of Trash. We'll plus and turn Bolas's Citadel into a creature. Maybe that's a bad idea. We'll turn the top into a creature. It doesn't really matter. Pass the turn. And now their One Ring protection is gone, and I have a Karn the Great Creator in play. So they have one island and a Mishra's Workshop that are relevant. And I can start attacking them on my turn with a Bolas's Citadel, which is kind of funny. We'll untap the Mana Vault, draw for turn. We'll -3 on the Tezzeret. Yeah, there's nothing worth grabbing here. Okay, I didn't think so. And we'll minus on the Karn the Great Creator. Yes. And we'll grab a Mycosynth Lattice, and this will just lock the opponent out of the game. So we'll use the Mana Vault, untap it with the key, tap it again, play the Mycosynth Lattice. Alright, everything is an artifact. We'll play the Undercity Sewers. Oh, that's funny, because now it pumps up the Tezzeret. That's cute. And we'll Surveil. The Lorien Reveal can go to the graveyard. We'll pass the turn. Actually, no. Let's look at their hand. I can pay mana and do that. They have 2 copies of stock up. I mean, their One Ring is my win condition here. I'll Ancestral Recall targeting myself. They don't even get to play Magic. Are they wondering how I win the game? Is that what's going on here? I'll take 1. Untap the Mana Vault. We'll plus the Karn on the Mycosynth Lattice. Attack them for 6. Tap the Mox Sapphire. We'll play Brainstorm. And I'll put Lorien Revealed and Force of Will on top. It just doesn't even matter at this point. Play a Dark Ritual. Play a Dark Ritual. We'll play stock up. Take the Demonic Tutor and Tezzeret Cruel Captain, I suppose. Tendrils of Agony is my top card. We'll play Tolarian Academy. Play the Mox Ruby, which will be countered by the Vexing Bauble. Tap the Academy for a bunch of mana. 16 mana. How about that? We'll play Hull Breacher because I can. We'll play another Tezzeret Cruel Captain because I can. Storm count is rising. We'll keep the original. And Tendrils of Agony, paying the life. It will be countered, but the Storm trigger still happens, and it's enough to kill the opponent here. This was a sweet match. I will say, that was a lot of fun. Alright, so we're 1-0. 4 matches left. Hopefully they're all as good as this one. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Round number 2, we're on the play with Beseech the Mirror Storm, even though I bordered it out in match number 1. Alright, so this is a turn 2 stock up. We keep this. We also have double force if we need it. I don't mind the mental misstep for, imposing ancestral recalls and things like that. Like, this hand is pretty solid. We'll play the Underground Sea and Mana Vault. Pass the turn. The opponent plays a Mishra's Workshop. Vexing Bauble, I will mental misstep that. I go down to 18. Mana Vault, sure. 4 cards in their hand. They play a key. You've got it. 3 cards remain. Okay. Tezzeret Cruel Captain. That was quite the draw, because now I can untap my Mana Vault. So we'll do that. And now I'll play the stock up floating a colorless. Karn the Great Creator seems pretty good. I'll take that and... Beseech the Mirror wins the game next turn, too. Is Beseech the Mirror just better? So I would go Dark Ritual minus the Tezzeret for Black Lotus. Beseech the Mirror into Yawgmoth's Will. That's just a clean win. So is it supposed to be like Beseech the Mirror plus Urza's Saga? Maybe that's the line. Wish I could have found another blue card somewhere in there. Or a black land could have won this turn, but there wasn't a black land in there. No, a black land wouldn't have won this turn. My apologies. Pass. They play another key. 3 cards in hand. They're going to untap the Mana Vault. It looks like a lot of mana here. 9 mana. They play Entailing Gates of Mandara. Sure. 10 mana now. Paradoxical Outcome. I'm going to Force of Will. They have 1 card left. And they just pass. Looks like we get to win game number 1. I'll take 1 off the Mana Vault in my upkeep. Technically, you take it in your draw step. You can pay in your upkeep to untap, and then you take the damage in the draw step, which is just weird how they built it. We'll minus the Tezzeret. We'll go grab Black Lotus. Play the Black Lotus. This will add a counter to the Tezzeret. We'll play Dark Ritual. Beseech the Mirror with Bargain. Sacrifice Mana Vault. Hold Control. Choose another copy of Beseech the Mirror. We'll bargain the Urza's Saga. And then I'll make 3 black mana. Beseech the Mirror. This can grab Yawgmoth's Will. If I could play Yawgmoth's Will in Legacy, imagine if I could stop drawing Gaia's Will. That would make my life complete. We'll play the Black Lotus. Play Urza's Saga. That triggers. We'll replay the Mana Vault. And then tap the Mana Vault. We'll play Beseech the Mirror with Bargain. Sacrifice the Mana Vault into Tendrils of Agony. And our opponent's at 20, so it's perfect. Love it. Just good, clean comboing. I believe our opponent's on Jewel Shops, based on what we saw here in game number 1. Alright. Karn the Great Creator winning the game. I choose winning the game. Alright, so Jewel Shops, we likely want the Hull Breachers. We want Mindbreak Trap. The Needle's not terrible. I could see that being a reasonable card to bring in here. I'm less confident about Flusterstorm in the matchup. I think that one's a little sketchy, because it's either really good or terrible, and there's kind of no in between. Alright, we're at 67 cards. Mystical Tutor. I think we want the Chain of Vapor for Vexing Bauble. I could be wrong. Could probably cut the Vampiric Tutor. Shave 1 Beseech the Mirror. We could probably cut 1 Tezzeret versus Jewel Shops. I don't think we need both. Maybe Flusterstorm just isn't the card. Maybe I don't have those in the deck. Maybe that's the actual answer. I kind of want the second Tezzeret if I'm bringing in the Needle, because then I can name the One Ring, and Tezzeret gets the Needle faster than an Urza Saga. Alright, this might be crazy. I'm going to sideboard out a Dark Ritual. We have Tezzeret to go grab Black Lotus. I think Dark Ritual is less important than it used to be, so we're going to try this. Game number 2, we're on the draw. So this hand requires me to be able to untap, and not be like already out of the game. That said, this hand is very good. I want to keep it. One of my best draws would be a Mox, because that would allow me to play Mana Vault Needle without sacrificing the Black Lotus. Mishra's Workshop, Mana Vault, sure. Soul Ring, so you have a lot of mana. Mox Pearl, 3 cards remain. Wow, you have a lot of mana here. Sure. 2 cards left. 6 mana. This is likely a coveted jewel. And it is. So they'll draw 3 and they have blue mana now. This is the downside of keeping this hand on the draw. They have 4 cards and they're passing. We draw Bolas's Citadel. We'll begin with Black Lotus. Let's see if this resolves. I need it to resolve in order for my hand to work. Oh no, they're tapping mana. They have Force of Negation. Oh no, my whole hand needed this Black Lotus to work. Alright, that's a bummer. We'll go to game number 3. That hand would have been incredible on the play, but not good enough on the draw. We'll try it again. On the play for game 3. I think this is actually too slow. The Bolas's Citadel is essentially a mulligan. Turn 2 Hull Breacher. We have to mulligan. This is very good. So we'll keep this bottom, the basic island. They kept 7. I'll play Gitaxian Probe. It resolves. Time Vault, Vexing Bauble, Mana Crypt, Phyrexian Metamorph. So we'll play Black Lotus, play Mana Crypt, Mox Pearl. Sacrifice the Black Lotus for blue. Maybe that's greedy, because if I find Beseech the Mirror off the stock up, that's a win. So let's not do that. And I'll play stock up. Time Walk, Lorien Revealed. This was not particularly good. My fear with my opponent's hand is if they find a key, I lose, because they already have the Time Vault. I think we're supposed to take Lorien Revealed and Time Walk. And then let's Brainstorm. Okay. Put back Chain of Vapor, Lorien Revealed, play the Time Walk, and I'll pass back to myself. We'll say Tails, I win the flip, cycle the Lorien Revealed, go grab Underground Sea, play Stock Up. Demonic Tutor grabs Tinker, then Tinker for Citadel. I just need our... Well, I guess they have the Bauble, so that's not even that great. I could take Force of Will plus Demonic Tutor and then just counter the Vexing Bauble. And, like, our opponent has to draw a live card off the top. Like, the Hull Breacher is not even that great, so maybe it is just Force of Will plus Demonic Tutor. Pass. Mox Emerald. Mishra's Workshop. Mana Crypt. And there's the Vexing Bauble. So was their top card a live card? I mean, I think this Hull Breacher isn't even good because they can Phyrexian Metamorph it. Or, like, if they just find key, I lose. So I'm going to counter the Bauble. Grim Monolith. Also, like, I wonder if Yawgmoth's Will is secretly better than Tinker here. Alright, so they have Phyrexian Metamorph and 1 unknown. Mana Crypt, we'll say Tails. We draw Soul Ring. Looking at my graveyard, is Yawgmoth's Will better? I don't know. We'll play the Soul Ring and Demonic Tutor. So I'm able to replay the Black Lotus and then I'll land, but that's not even a win. Like, I think Tinker is the move here. So I could play the land, play Black Lotus, play Time Walk or a Stock Up. I could play a Probe, but like those aren't winning plays, I don't think. I think it's supposed to be Tinker. And then I'll Tinker away the Mana Crypt. That resolves. I'll grab Bolas's Citadel. Misty Rainforest. Unfortunately, that was not a spell on top. I'll fetch. And then I think you're supposed to grab the Surveil land here. If I fizzle, it's real bad because they get to copy the Citadel with Phyrexian Metamorph. So I'm going to hold control when I click on the Undercity Sewers. Oh, I will definitely leave Yawgmoth's Will on top. Cast Yawgmoth's Will. And now we can play Black Lotus, Mana Crypt, make 3 black, play Demonic Tutor, and this can grab Tendrils of Agony if I need it to. So Storm is only 7. So Tendrils would not win the game, but it would give me a bunch of life to play with. I could grab Tendrils and then probe. Maybe I should have probed first, just to clear the Mindbreak Trap off the top. I mean, I could just grab a Sensi's Divining Top here. I mean, that's probably the move. We'll play Sensi's Divining Top. I'm going to tap to draw a card holding priority, and then I'm going to Chain of Vapor my own top. Okay, so I'm going to draw the Mox Sapphire, and then I'll be able to replay the top. Sacrifice Undercity Sewers, bounce the Mana Crypt. Sacrifice Sea, I'll bounce Mox Pearl. Sacrifice Underground Sea, I'll bounce the Soul Ring. And now I'll draw the card off Sensi's Divining Top. We'll play Mox Sapphire, Mox Pearl, Soul Ring. I'll go to 5. We'll play Stock Up off the top. We find Tendrils of Agony. And Karn the Great Creator. We'll play Mana Crypt. I will go to 3 life and we'll Gitaxian Probe. Third draw was another Phyrexian Metamorph, apparently. We'll play Karn the Great Creator. And then Tendrils of Agony. Storm 17. Alright, well, we just beat Jewel Shops, one of the better decks of the format. Beseech the Mirror Storm looking very good. I really do think that Stock Up plus Tezzeret moved the needle on this deck. It always felt a little action-light before, and now it's just, you always have something to do, which is great. So, we're 2-0. There's still 3 matches left. My opinions could change, but right now, I think that this deck looks pretty nuts. Let me know what you think in the comment section, but for now, we're going to hop on into match number 3, and I will see you there. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $15.99. This token combo pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens featuring classic Storm and Mana tokens with new inclusions such as our modern Ruby Storm package, but that's not all. Our token pack covers a variety of formats from Pauper to CDH with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Round number 3, we're on the draw. We've opened up a hand that doesn't have a blue card for Force of Will, but also can't cast Beseech the Mirror or this Bolas's Citadel. This is a pretty clear mulligan to me. Alright, so this is turn 1 Stock Up or Tezzeret, and you can bottom the Bolas's Citadel, or you could potentially keep it and hard cast it on turn 2 if you minus the Tezzeret for Black Lotus. But I think I'd rather bottom the Bolas's Citadel and just not assume that everything goes my way. Because I think that's sort of a fantasy world where you get to do everything and your opponent has nothing. Like they've kept a hand for some reason that just does not interact or win the game, which seems a little questionable. So here we can go land, Mox Jet, Soul Ring, Tezzeret, minus the Tezzeret for Black Lotus and a Stock Up, or you could just plus the Tezzeret pass. They're on 5 cards. Mana Crypt, Black Lotus, good 5. Looks like they're playing Initiative. Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. Well, that's a pain in the butt. What a 5-card hand. Holy moly. I just lost. Wow. That is devastating. We'll play Scalding Tarn. Pass. I have 1 Chain of Vapor in my deck, so I can bounce the Archon of Emeria, but this Thalia Guardian of Thraben is going to be a problem. And now they have Anointed Peacekeeper. Well, that was a 5-card hand for the ages. Okay. We'll bring in Mindbreak Trap. We want Snuff Out. Don't want Flusterstorm. I wonder if you're supposed to take out Thoughtseize or not. Probably. You can bring in Hurkyl's Recall because they often bring in a bunch of Null Rods. I'm just not sure what I'm supposed to cut because I'm currently at 62 cards. Like, you could cut the Gitaxian Probe. I think that's likely fine. And this might not be a Tezzeret matchup, so maybe we shave down to 1. Let's try this out. So I want to keep in the Karn the Great Creator because on the play, especially, being able to shut off their artifact mana is pretty huge. This is interesting. This is a turn 2 Tinker with Force of Will backup. Yeah, we keep this. Misty Rainforest, we'll play the Mox Sapphire. They kept 7, which is very scary. And I think I just passed the turn. Mana Crypt. I think I'm going to force a will here. They play Cavern of Souls, so if you let the Mana Crypt resolve, then they can just go Cavern of Souls Archon of Emeria or something like that. They open up on Mana Crypt Black Lotus 2 games in a row. That is not good luck for me. Okay. They just have it all. Spirit of the Labyrinth. Sure. 3 white mana. Clarion Conqueror. That is not good. I will Mystical Tutor. So I can no longer play Tinker. This Dark Ritual doesn't do a whole lot, but what I can do is grab Snuff Out and then kill the Clarion Conqueror. And they have Strip Mine. Our opponent kind of nut drew me twice, I won't lie, but that happens. I will fetch. Grab Undercity Sewers. Ancestral Recall, not very good with Spirit of the Labyrinth in play, so that will go to the graveyard. Cannot cast this Beseech the Mirror, so I'll play, since he's Divining Top, and pass. Another Dark Ritual. Ugh, they have a Wasteland too. Oh my. I was going to say another Dark Ritual would win the game, but I can't do that anymore. We drew Tendrils, which was a terrible draw. They're going to attack for 6, so my next draw step is my last. And there's no one draw that gets me out of this. Brutal. I mean, you could argue that I've made 2 wrong decisions this match. One, game 1 I kept a hand without Force of Will. Even if I had a Force of Will, I would not have beaten Turn 1 Thalia into Archon of Emeria. And then game 2, you could argue that I'm not supposed to Force of Will the Mana Crypt. The issue is they do play 4 copies of Cavern of Souls. So if you let Mana Crypt resolve, they can just play Cavern of Souls Archon of Emeria, or Dragon naming, so they could play Clarion Conqueror, that sort of thing. So typically in this matchup, you're supposed to go after their mana. It didn't work here. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you make the right decision, it just doesn't matter. So we got an L. We're 2-1, but there's still 2 matches left to go. Let's go try to win those. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. The 4th match, we are on the play. Looks like our opponent is going to be revealing a Lurrus of the Dream Den, our first of the league. This hand is very good. We'll keep it. Looks like our opponent has also kept 7. Play Mox Sapphire. Mox Jet. Time Walk. We'll play Black Lotus. And Urza's Saga. Okay, they still have 7. I believe we're supposed to just be on the Construct plan here. I mean, Stock Up was a very good draw. We'll play Stock Up. I could still make a Construct if I'm willing to sacrifice the Black Lotus. Interesting. I think it's Yawgmoth's Will and Force of Will? All the wills. And then we'll pass the turn. I can always make a construct on their end step. Looted Delta. End step will make... I guess I should represent blue mana here. Versus Saga. And now on my turn, we draw Mox Pearl. We'll make another Saga construct. We'll grab Mana Crypt. Play Mox Pearl. We'll go to combat. Attack for 6. And then play Yawgmoth's Will. I have not played a land, so I can go Urza's Saga, Black Lotus, Time Walk with Force Will back up. They're going to fetch. If this is a Flusterstorm, I can't interact. Not a whole lot I can do about that. Ancestral Recall. I will Force of Will. And the opponent concedes. Nice. Okay. I mean, this deck looks pretty good to me. We likely want Hull Breacher. I mean, they are an Orcish Bowmaster deck, but I think Hull Breacher is still pretty good here. Likely want the Flusterstorms. Less interested in Mystical Tutor and Vampiric Tutor. You could probably shave 1 Beseech the Mirror. And I don't think that the Lurrus decks are particularly good Karn the Great Creator decks. They often play their own Null Rods, so I don't think that's a card you actually want here. And you might be arguing about Snuff Out. Snuff Out doesn't kill Orcish Bowmasters, but it also doesn't kill Lavinia, so it doesn't do a whole lot. This hand is slow. I think we can do better. I'm going to mulligan. Now this is a hand. This hand is good. We'll bottom the Underground Sea. Leverage that London mulligan. We'll keep 1 copy of Underground Sea goes on the bottom. And they also have 6 cards. They begin with an Urza's Saga. Mox Emerald. No Lurrus of the Dream Den this time. Time Vault. Think we have to fight here. Exile, stock up. I mean, they already have the Urza Saga in play, so if you don't fight, like, what is going on? What I'm wondering is what they sided in that would make them not have Luris. Oh, well, I just have a turn 1 Tinker. So the question is, like, do they have Force of Negation? We'll play the Tinker, sacrificing Mox Ruby. We'll grab Bolas's Citadel. Ooh, Underground Sea on top is not good. Alright, that hurts. Urza Saga to the second chapter. They play Mox Sapphire. 4 mana. Paradoxical outcome. Yep. Didn't love that. Why are you not good to me, Bolas's Citadel? I show you nothing but love, and this is how you treat me. Okay, so they're not the Luris control deck that I thought they were. They're, in fact, Paradoxical Outcome, which means I would have brought in Mindbreak Trap if I had known, but I didn't. So we're hoping that I'm allowed to untap with a Bolas's Citadel still in play. They also have Tolarian Academy. Okay, so we might not be winning this one. It looks like they have another Paradoxical Outcome in hand, and they're just struggling on how to cast it. Snapcaster Mage. Okay. Similar. And now they get 2 Paradoxical Outcome for 5, with a ton of mana available here. So I just have to hope that they drew a bunch of lands and counter magic. Like, that's really all I can do here. And hope that the Bolas's Citadel can power through the counter magic that they did find. They drew Ancestral Recall. Okay. Mox Jet. Sink in a Stupor on my Citadel. Alright, I've seen enough. We can go to the next one. Bolas's Citadel, you disappoint me. Okay, so we probably want the Mindbreak Traps. And I do want the Karn the Great Creator. Hull Breacher's probably still fine. You can get rid of the Chain of Vapor. I think I'm supposed to board down a Tezzeret if I'm going to keep in both Hull Breachers. And this might be crazy. I think I'm going to shave a Lorien Revealed. Okay. On the play for game 3. So Probe is interesting. It's my blue card for Force of Will. The Bolas's Citadel is essentially a mulligan here. I don't think I'm supposed to send this back, though. We'll keep. Play Black Lotus. Flooded Strand. Fetch with the Flooded Strand. Underground Sea. Sacrifice for blue. Play Demonic Tutor. They Force of Will exiling stock up. I will Force of Will back exiling the Gitaxian Probe. They have 5 in hand. And they had double Force of Will. Okay, so we have land uncastable card. We're in trouble. They have 3 cards in hand, but they're on the draw, so they're likely ahead, especially when the Bolas's Citadel in my hand is basically a blank piece of cardboard. Beseech the Mirror does not help. They grab a Meticulous Archive. You could argue that I was supposed to play Gitaxian Probe. Oh, they drew Ancestral. No! No! Come on. That I was supposed to play the Probe, but if you don't draw a blue card, the hand crumbles. So I think it's too risky to play the Probe. But obviously, I was punished. Yeah, and I feel like we've been buried. There's no way I can win this game now. The opponent's just too far ahead. We needed Bolas's Citadel to be better to me in game number 2, but instead it was terrible. Can't play stock up. 5 mana here. Citadel. I'm not imagining it, right? Like, they revealed Luris in game 1, and now they have Bolas's Citadel. It's kind of odd. They have 1 card in hand. Citadel has either a land or a piece of counter magic on top. We find Mox Emerald. We'll play stock up. They play Force of Negation off the top. And they find a stock up. We're dead. There's an expression about this format, which is like, sometimes you just get vintaged. It happened last round, and it sort of happened this round, to be honest. You know, the variance is higher in this format. That is certainly something to be said. And, like, you can try to maximize every little decision to increase your odds, and I think that is something really good vintage players do. But the nature of the format is more high variance. So, with it being singletons and really broken pieces of cardboard, like Ancestral Recall and Black Lotus, it often offsets the power level. So, for example, our opponent mulliganed to 5 in game 1 of the previous round, but their opening hand was Mana Crypt, Black Lotus, Double Hate Bear. Like, it's really tough to beat that. And then, you know, this round, our opponent sort of just, like, had better hands than us twice, and that can happen. So no reason to be upset or anything. I'm not salty. It's just sharing some perspective on what can happen. All right, and they're sort of just doing whatever they want at this point. I'm going to save myself some life equity here and concede. We're now 2-2. Let's just try to finish the last one and finish with a positive record. The Gold Sabertooth times the Epic Storm collection has arrived with 3 full-size tokens showcasing the beloved Dark Ritual, CDH Rogsai, and Legacy of the Epic Storm for just $5. On the backs of these tokens, there's a place for my signature or a custom message. In addition to these sweet tokens, a friendly reminder that all orders that ship from theepicstorm.com also come with a signed Storm token from yours truly. The 5th and final round on the play. Let's finish this with a positive record. I would like that. This is a turn 1 win, assuming that our opponent does not have Force of Will. I mean, we rolled the dice with these. If they have the Force of Will, it obviously hurts my feelings, but, you know, we'll try to make do. We'll play Underground Sea, Mox Ruby. I think there's actually a better way to sequence this. So I'm going to go Dark Ritual here. And then we'll play Tezzeret, Cruel Captain. Because if this gets Force Willed, I can still try again next turn. And it does. They exiled Displacer Kitten. So now I will Vampiric Tutor. And we can just grab some other card here. Like a good card that we would like to have. Dark Ritual Beseech the Mirror still wins. So what is another card we would like? I wish this deck had a free piece of protection, but it doesn't. I mean, I could grab a Gitaxian Probe to look. Maybe that's worthwhile. Maybe that's like not a good use of Vampiric Tutor, but it lets me know if they have it. Ancient Tomb. And now I will Gitaxian Probe. They don't have it, so now we win. Dark Ritual. Beseech the Mirror with Bargain. Sacrifice the Mox Ruby. Oh, I don't have the initial black mana to start again. That's an oversight. I mean, I could grab Karn the Great Creator. They wouldn't be able to do anything with their hand. And I can't tinker because I don't have an artifact to sacrifice. So if I go the Yawgmoth's Will route, I'd have to rip a black mana off of Gitaxian Probe. That seems very risky. Yeah, I think it has to be Karn the Great Creator because I messed this up. We'll play the Karn. And we'll minus the Karn the Great Creator. And I'll grab a Pithing Needle because then I can name Tezzeret Cruel Captain. They play Mishra's Workshop. I drew the Yawgmoth's Will. I mean, that was good. We'll play the Needle. We'll name Tezzeret Cruel Captain. Plus the Karn. Pass the turn. And the opponent concedes. Okay, so we're facing Jewel Shops once again. I would like the Mindbreak Traps, the Hull Breachers. I think we ended up not bringing in Flusterstorm last time. Although it is a blue card on the draw compared to Thoughtseize. So maybe that's a reason to have it. Likely don't have time for Mystical Tutor. That can go maybe one Tezzeret Cruel Captain, one Beseech the Mirror, and a Lorien Revealed. I think I'm down to try this. You could also do Hurkyl's Recall, but I don't think Hurkyl's Recall is particularly good against them. Okay, well, I mean, Mindbreak Trap into turn 1 Tinker. I'm not going to send this back. Let's party. Kind of mad at Bolas' Citadel right now, I'm not going to lie. I'm not like raging or anything. It's just like a little disappointed. Maybe that's the better word here. I mean, I love Tinker into Citadel. It's my absolute favorite thing about Vintage. Like, you know, if I'm being completely honest with you, like Tinker is one of my favorites. And when I used to play a ton of Vintage back in 2020, all I cared about was tinkering. And being able to do Tinker into Bolas' Citadel was a big reason that I played this deck today. And only for it to fall on my face to make me 2-2 was a little disappointing. But losses happen, not the end of the world. I just want to win this last match and, you know, finish with a positive record, get my entry fee back. Alright, so they lead on a Mox Pearl. Mana Vault, sure. Tezzeret Cruel Captain. How about you meet a Mindbreak Trap? They have 2 cards remaining. I'm guessing it's not Forcible blue card. Mox Sapphire was a good draw because now I don't have to play my land in order to play Tinker. We'll sacrifice the Mox Pearl, and we'll grab Bolas' Citadel. Beseech the Mirror, huh? We'll play Mox Jet, play the Misty Rainforest, play Mana Vault, make 3 mana, hold priority, we'll cast Beseech the Mirror paying life, sacrificing the Mana Vault. Alright, Beseech the Mirror again. We'll grab the other Beseech the Mirror, sacrifice Soul Ring. In response here, I'm going to fetch. I'm 1 storm short of lethal Tendrils of Agony. So if I can find something, I did not find an instant. Alright, so I'm 1 storm short of Tendrils. I could get Yawgmoth's Will here. That's probably good enough. We'll play the Yawgmoth's Will. From 9. Tezzeret Cruel Captain. Play Mox Pearl. Tezzeret gets a little bit bigger. We'll play Soul Ring. Mana Vault. Use Underground Sea. We'll Tinker. Sacrifice the Mana Vault. I can grab Black Lotus, and that allows me to replay Beseech the Mirror into Tendrils of Agony. We'll play the Time Vault. I go to 10. Beseech the Mirror. And our opponent concedes. So we got the 3-2. Yes. Alright, so what did I think of the deck list? I am not convinced about Thoughtseize in the main deck, but I am not an expert. Like, I haven't played this deck in months. When I was studying deck lists today, all of the deck lists had 2 Thoughtseize, 1 Flusterstorm. And that's probably fine. It's just I don't have the reps to know if that's good. I think in a proactive deck like this, it can be better, and you don't have to care about if your opponent opened up on Mana Crypt, Black Lotus, or anything like that. But it doesn't beat the top of your opponent's deck, which is a big concern. Overall, it was fine. I just question if it's correct. The stock-ups felt amazing. Like, the last time I played this deck, there was 4 Ponder. Having 4 stock-up was a really noticeable difference. I do think one area for improvement is I think Lorien Revealed just kind of stinks. I even thought about not playing it today. I thought about playing a second Flusterstorm in the main deck and a 13th land. I just think Lorien Revealed has sort of come and gone, and its role has been filled by stock up, which is more efficient. So I do think you could potentially cut Lorien Revealed, and it would be fine. I did think about Sink in a Stupor as another land/spell. It would give you another bounce spell other than Chain of Vapor 2. I ended up not knowing how to add it to the deck. It could be over a Lorien Revealed, but it was just a thought that I had. Sink in a Stupor gives you more outs to Null Rod and other things like that. I did not miss the Necropotence, which used to be in the deck as well. You know, with stock ups and Tezzeret and Karn the Great Creator, I just never felt the need to go get a Necropotence. If I wanted that effect, I think I would try to find a main deck, the One Ring, when you have Manifold Key and Tezzeret Cruel Captain. I do think the One Ring would be pretty interesting, but overall, the deck was great. I do think there's maybe some room for improvement in the sideboard. I don't know about all of these, like, Karn the Great Creator targets. I based my sideboard on other sideboards that have been doing well recently, but I think this 5-card package could probably be a little bit smaller. I don't know how I feel about the Hull Breachers. They feel a little bit win more to me. Like, I'd rather almost just have Force of Negations and make sure that I'm allowed to untap, because the Hull Breachers just, in order for them to be good, I think you already have to be ahead. And I don't want to play cards like that. I want cards that allow me to untap and do my thing. So I think the Hull Breachers are kind of sketchy. They could be Force of Negations, and I'd probably be a little bit happier. But that's my thought on the deck. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully this video gets tons of views, so that way I'm more encouraged by the YouTube algorithm to upload more vintage content. Once again, thanks for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. And as always, keep storming. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel. After you do that, open up our description where you can find all of our social media networks, including our Discord, where you can discuss today's deck in that Discord with me and tons of other combo masterminds. It's absolutely free to join, and it's certainly worth your while.